time we get to that.
With a bit of luck.
Good evening, everybody. The first item is to receive, accept any apologies for absence. It's disappeared over there, are there any? Councillor Fuller.
Councillor Fuller, yeah.
Do we accept the apologies of Councillor Fuller, who I think is working away?
Yeah.
The next item is representation from interested parties. We are fortunate to have a number of members of the public here. We have members of the public here on both sides of the debate in relation to a particular planning application. That is the one which relates to 5 Quarterstock Road. It's actually on the top of page 2 of our agenda. But what I will do is take that one first. See which councillor ever manages to get his machine to work. But whilst we're trying to see if we can sort that out, I think Mark Benz has been asked by the applicant to speak. So if I can invite you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much. Planning Committee, I felt it was appropriate on this occasion to attend and represent the applicant, Mrs Robinson, as there was a rather vehement group of objections to a proposed small 2-bedroom dwelling. Obviously, we all monitor things on the planning portal, so these things are clear evident. The previous application for an entirely different dwelling was refused earlier this year as it failed to address its locality and its neighbours. Therefore, I have looked at, with a fresh approach, to address these planning issues for the neighbours and some of their concerns, as well as planning issues. Just wanted to bullet point a few points, and then I'm open to questions should you seek that during the course of the day or the evening. Joint core strategy that Elmwood subscribes to is calling for 2-bedroom low-cost properties. The proposal ensures that no property is overlooked. Bathrooms are situated to the rear and have roof windows positioned above head height. There are no windows on the first floor to the west, north or east. The nearest property over the road, which is actually to the south, is circa 20 metres away, and there are no privacy issues. The house is traditionally designed, materials, construction, and 1.5 storeys high. The dwelling will exceed current national standards in sustainability. There is a good private amenity space at the rear of the dwelling. 5 cars can be accommodated on the drive with room to manoeuvre in accordance with local authority requirements for 5 vehicles. This increases the current provision of off-road parking. Environmental protection have already been consulted by East Northamptonshire, and they have no concerns over the former land uses. And thank you for giving me the opportunity, and should you require any questions, I'm more than happy to do that.
Can I ask you to present, put it this way, the other side of the case?
Good evening. My name is Martin Hipwell. I live at the corner house over the road from the property in question. I have supplied you all with some pictures that we've mocked up here of the proposed dwelling and how it will affect the other residences. So that was just in support. I'd like to have had it on the screen, but I'm not that good at technology. So anyway, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity this evening to speak on behalf of myself and my neighbours in objecting to the planning application for number 5 Quarterstock Road. From where I'm looking and the rest of the residents, nothing has significantly changed since the previous application, which was refused on the 22nd of June this year, predominantly for overdevelopment of the site in layman's terms, privacy issues with number 7 Quarterstock Road, and also the impact it would have on the current owner of the property and indeed future owners of that property and the new property that's going to be proposed to the site. The major issue was that it's the development of the back garden of the property and there wasn't sufficient space to develop there. Although the application is for 5 Quarterstock Road, really the new property is going to be on Lime Avenue and it will be accessed from Lime Avenue. It is worth noting at this point the applicant runs a business from this address which hasn't been mentioned on this application or any previous application, with regular visitors throughout the week coming to park their cars on the road. The drawings in the plans look a little unrealistic, unless I've misread them, but they do not take into account the large conservatory, which is to the rear of number 7 Cotterstock Road, which will be severely affected by light issues. As Lime Avenue is on a hill, with 5 Cotterstock Road at the top, it doesn't look like also the plans have taken this into account. It appears that the property is the same height as number 5, and therefore will tower over number 1A Lime Avenue in the garden of number 7 Cotterstock Road, which, if this is the case, would be totally out of proportion with the existing area. There is a severe loss of light to 1A Lime Avenue, both internally and externally. The areas being affected is the main lounge and kitchen dining area, and also there will be light issues for the conservatory of number 7 Cotterstock Road, and indeed privacy issues, which again was highlighted in the previous refusal. It is proposed there are 3 Velox windows overlooking number 7 within 2 metres of the boundary of the properties. These are directly in line with the bedroom windows of number 7 Cotterstock Road. It also appears that there are windows to the south elevation and north elevation, which would overlook the garden of 1A Lime Avenue, again reducing the privacy. From what I can see from the objection from the local highways agency, the planned parking breaches the MCC highways regulations, both in terms of the access not being wide enough and also not being far enough away from the highway. Within the current plans, it is exceedingly difficult to see how this could be addressed. Parking and turning space on the plans for 5 cars, family-sized cars, appears unrealistic, but the more important thing is that since the previous application was refused, yellow lines have appeared at the top of Lime Avenue, therefore reducing the parking even further. Please remember that parents regularly turn up and park their cars to drop their children and pick them up from the school, as well as the clients visiting the business on number 5 Cotterstock Road. My fear that if the parking is unrealistic for the 5 vehicles, then we're going to have more cars parking on the road, and actually it addresses nothing in terms of parking. The proposed move of access would then move directly in opposite my drive, which again is nearer to the junction and nearer to the yellow lines, which again I would suggest would cause more congestion. The property is going to be built on the site of an old quarry, which nobody quite knows what was put in there, and it's been indicated, I believe, by the environmental officer that there would have to be certain conditions in relation to this. It is clear from some of the patches on Lime Avenue that there's already draining problems in the area. So to summarise, in trying to shoehorn another property into this space will be a severe overdevelopment of the site, and definitely not in keeping with the rest of the street. It would have a detrimental effect to the current residents in regard to light and privacy of their properties, and in turn an impact on their quality of day-to-day living. Parking is a major issue, and as I've said, the shared access appears to be a breach of the highways regulation, and it definitely isn't sufficient for the 5 vehicles proposed. As I said in my opening comments, nothing has significantly changed from the previous application, which was refused, and indeed certain issues and proposals appear to have worsened since the previous application. We believe this resubmission for planning should be refused as well. Thank you very much for listening.
Do any councillors have any questions for Mr. Hipwell? Do you have any other representations? I'm not talking about in relation to the same application, because I don't think we want to hear any more, but have we had notice of any other representations relating to any other matters? No. In which case, I'm going to move on to the other formal parts, and then as soon as we get beyond those, we'll look at this particular application as the first of the applications tonight. And so the next item is declarations of interest. We're all familiar with the wording. I'll read it out to the audience now. To receive any declarations of interest from members and officers under Section 50 of the Local Government Act of 2000, Standing Orders 35 and 36. Obviously, this requirement relates only to matters that are for discussion during this meeting. Firstly, anybody with any disclosable pecuniary interest? in any of the applications? None. Does anybody have any other interests they wish to declare?
The only issue really is with the Unit 2 Mill Road, really,
Yes.
which we all have to put our hands up
Which
to.
indeed we do all have to put our hands up because we actually own the premises. So we will note the application, but we will not be making any response to it. Well spotted, Councillor Oakes. Any other interests? If not, I'm going to mention two. One is in relation to, I'll just check the number, 175308. That's Trent House at Riverside Maltings. I mention it because my mother-in-law lives in Medway House, which is almost immediately opposite, but is affected by the increase in service charge which the works proposed generate. So I suppose I want to formally place that on record. And I will simply again formally place on record that of course one of the objectors to the application which we've been hearing about in relation to 5 Gosstock Road are Mr and Mrs Round. Mrs Round is of course a former mayor of Arundel Town Council and therefore known to at least some people around this table in that capacity. So I think it's probably right that I should mention that they're in that capacity and they applies to 1 or 2 others here as well. Councillor Oakes N, Councillor Oakes S and Councillor Cheshire, I think, will all take the same view that perhaps we should note that point. Any other interests? No? Good. Minutes of the previous meeting, that's the meeting that we had on the 7th of November. They have been circulated. Does anybody wish to propose those as an accurate record? Councillor Oakes N, seconded by Councillor Cheshire. All those in favour? Everybody to sign those. And as I do so, perhaps Councillor Oakes, you might like to start us off with 5 Gosstock Road. If you can.
Okay. That's it really. Just to remind ourselves of where it is. We're looking at the property that is both really on Lime Avenue and on Gosstock Road, but you know that's it really. And that's really the site where these additional property is to be put. I usually put up a satellite image. This isn't particularly helpful, but you know, you get the general idea. Site plan. I'll leave this up for a bit. So you basically going to see that this is a property that's going to be take up a bit of number 5, and it's going to head towards further down Lime Avenue. But that's what the block plan looks like. Okay. Right. Next bit, really. All right. Come on. Site photos. In actual fact, these have actually been already put forward, but you get the general idea about where the 2 cars are parked. At the moment would be the entrance to this development. You can see the proximity to the neighbouring house just down the road, and you can see that in itself at the time, when I took the original photograph of this, was cladded, you know, completely covered in scaffolding, a lot of which has come down. But that was originally a bungalow, and it's basically been turned into a house. Right, let's see. These are, something's going on, this laptop. That was originally the property that lies further down Lime Avenue, and as you can see, it is a bungalow, but it's been built up upon and moved out to the left-hand side as you look at it, and that essentially is what you saw where the 3 dormer windows are sited. And you can argue actually that the siting of those actually was a bit of an imposition on the applicant for this particular property, but there was no objection made at the time. These are the floor plans. These probably aren't the things that are most interesting, because I think we're really talking about what the elevations will be and their impact upon neighbouring residents, etc. But they are part of the planning application. So you get the general idea. It's, as you might expect, a property that's going to be built with 2 bedrooms and in a modern layout of how people wish to live these days. Not much to say about that on the floor plan front. But this is the bit that really is the things. Now, that is how the existing property would look like if it wasn't for the fence from the south. And the south is basically from the Lime Avenue point of view. And what's proposed then is to put that property next to it in accordance with what you've seen before as a site plan. And that's basically what the street scene would be. Okay. Other elevations, well, you know, these are probably of less interest because they clearly have less of an impact, maybe. Although, as has been said, maybe the windows, the Velux windows, might have something, an implication for the people at the rear of the house, which has been stated. Okay. I'm really just trying to point out that we did, when the Handel Town Council first saw the application to build there, we didn't know that there were objections from the residents. So I merely put this up as just an explanation. Basically, we didn't know there were any residents' objections, mainly because at the time ENC had not updated their website very quickly. In actual fact, as some of you might know, it's in a pretty parlous state at the moment. It's weeks and weeks behind. So whenever, as councillors will well know, I do this stuff, I always say that I have no idea whether there are any objections. I do my best to check right up until virtually the last minute as to whether there are any logged objections. ENC, East Northamptonshire Council, have decided to try and digitise as much as they possibly can, so we don't get rafts and rafts of paper. The upside of that, of course, is that we don't cut down Amazon tree forests, but the downside is that if they don't keep up to date with where we're going, we're just wandering around in the dark, really. And I've had a bit of a struggle, I can tell you, to even get this up. Because, and I've been one of the people who've been yelling at them, actually, for the last 3 weeks, but anyway. There's an interesting thing. I've been on, because I've been looking at this issue about this. What constitutes overdevelopment? And I've read a ton of stuff on this from people who advised on what the government was saying, but that's the pithy sort of bit I can come up with without, sending you reams and reams and reams of stuff. An amount of development of buildings and intensity that is excessive in terms of demands on infrastructure, services, impact on local amenity and character. Now that is really just the boil down. Clearly you can enlarge on any of those observations. It's a matter, I think, of judgment as to whether this could be regarded as overdevelopment, is really where I'm coming from. And that, I think, is all I have to say on the matter.
Can I just ask you to remind us verbally what you said in relation to the previous application? I appreciate it was a different...
We said originally it was no comment, then we realised there were residents' concerns, and we went back and said, basically, if we'd known that it was going to be like this, the 6 out of the 8 of us would have said, we don't like the look of this.
Right. we have the application. We've heard both from a representative of the applicant and from one of the objectors on behalf of himself and indeed others. And we can see that, broadly speaking, the issue is this spot suitable for this particular building on it? Which is not a bungalow, it's effectively a chalet building which you can see has windows in the roof space. I have the advantage that printed off in front of me, a copy of what we've seen on there. And if it helps anybody, this could be passed round. Anybody want to kick off with any comment, observation or view?
It does seem to be to shoehorn another house into a very small space. I don't know what we think that Alan's going to become, but it's I'd like to comment on other applications as well, but I don't think it does fit into the area and the outlook of the area. It's part of the town.
I'm thinking back to other similar applications in that sort of area, and I would think, my memory is that we would have said that that was overdeveloped.
Yes, there have been properties built on that whole estate which have been shoehorned in. If you think about, say, the bottom end of St Peter's Road on the flat bit, just as you're approaching the end of the straight before you go up the hill, the Jealousies used to live in the property. There was the little footpath that ran down as the link to the rugby club.
Yep.
And in their garden they then got permission to
Did.
build a property that they then moved into.
Yep.
A bit further up the hill, Paul Cross tried to make an application to put in a property, squeezing it in between his property and the adjoining one, that was subject to a lot of opposition, shall we say, and in fact that one was withdrawn, so we never did get to find out what the planners would have done. At this stage, as far as I'm aware, has never come back as a plan. So we've got the issue about, is it quote unquote overdevelopment for that site as the property it is. We've also of course had other issues raised in connection with the parking on the site, stroke impact of parking on the road. It has been drawn to our attention that yellow lines have indeed gone in since, I think, the original application. And of course the school has moved on as well, I think, since the original application. If nobody else has...
I just have a point of, on the opposite side of the road from the end of Lime Avenue, they've extended the house that has a frontage on Glatford Road, and extended it and built another house in the back garden, and they're in constructing at the moment. It would seem that that's gone through without very much, and the parking and access for that house would seem to me cause similar issues, as you live almost exactly opposite where they're building that new house. So it would seem to me to be difficult, I think, to argue that that went through when no one complained about their parking and their cars and their bits and pieces, but yet the opposite, there's an issue of parking.
As I recall,
In the
being
same
consulted. I don't live opposite, but I don't recall being consulted about that.
If I may speak, I do live opposite.
Right.
And we only moved in November, in September rather, so all these things happened before we were there.
Right. No, what I'm doing is actually bringing up.
Allow the public to speak again, because obviously it's voted and it was a point of information, but by and large we wouldn't normally expect additional contributions, but as it was a point of information, I think it was relevant.
I was just addressing, because if we were being consulted, I would have objected to that property.
Yeah, no, I'm just bringing it up as a point of interest, because it's actually, it would just seem a bit, it just seems to me a bit sort of churlish, because and from everywhere in Oundle, everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm bringing it up as a point of interest, not as a pro and a con. And it is a problem, a massive problem. And I think I'm in the corner of Rockingham Hills, for example. One tiny bungalow is now turned into 3 houses. Now this is happening, but I find it difficult with the planning as it is from Eton Lads and the planning applications we get. I find it very difficult because some of these plans go through without us almost never seeing them, or the building has started when we get the planning applications through. And this is an extraordinarily difficult decision. I find it extraordinarily difficult to make a decision about that, where it's happening everywhere in Oundle. So I can look at the facts and say I would object to this or not object to that, but I do find it difficult because in some ways it's a moral call.
I think what has been said maybe slightly exaggerates the point. I mean, clearly developments in people's gardens have been going on for years. There's probably been more in recent years. Actually, there isn't a huge explosion of it in Oundle any more than anywhere else, I don't think. But it is a difficult one because there are obviously garden areas which are really suitable to have one or more additional properties put in, and there are also gardens which are self-evidently too small, realistically, for that to happen. As to where this one sits in the greater scheme of things, yes, I can see the arguments both ways. My personal view is actually that it would be detrimental to the street scheme, and I do see it as being overdevelopment on that particular site, and I do somewhat worry about the overlooking aspects as well. I think probably the only way of dealing with this, unless anybody else wishes to speak, is just to get a flavour from...
I'd like to, please, because I'd like to respond if that's... This is the floor, so...
This will be the last opportunity.
Overlooking is not an issue. And I think people have to read drawings. I'm afraid, when I said that the roof windows are above head height, unless anybody's 7.5 feet tall, you cannot see out of them. So what overlooking issue is there at the rear?
Privacy into the conservatory of this guy, privacy into my children's trampoline,
From where?
my children playing.
Could you just...
In
When you stand up and the roof window is above your head, I'm sorry, but you've got to get... If you look at the roof windows and the position that they are above head height. It's in the design access standard.
Well, you can't see out of those windows.
But will those roof lights be lower than existing? If you make contact, is this...
They are above.
Just a second.
Is it going to be... Yes, is this...
Hang on a minute, that's the rear.
Yes, you need it in relation to the existing house.
Yes, I know, but I can only put up what's
No, okay,
see.
on the plan that you have there, I made it point out.
Well, that's what I've taken it from.
Yeah, but you've made the house there much bigger in actual fact, which is
No, actually, I haven't done anything with it, to be honest.
if I may show you, that house is shown exactly the same height as the extension. If you go back to your view, you're showing this as being considerably bigger in actual fact. But my point
I
is,
tried it.
my point is, this is built on a slope.
There's a small slope.
There's a slope. So no. So will the house actually be slightly lower than number 5 because of the slope of the
grade
road?
levels will be determined, but the bottom line is there is no overlooking, there is no windows looking at the back or to the sides, only to the front, on the first floor.
So you can
Light
assure
is
me
an
that
issue because the roof slopes away from it. I can address all of the planning issues.
Can I, before we end up with
Sorry.
the audience having its own private meeting, I think we're going to have to try and get some sort of order into this.
But Mr Chairman, it's very important
Yeah.
that the committee just see...
I thought we'd finished.
I think that the issue here probably is less about whether or not somebody standing on something could look out of the window and overlook, and far more about the size of the property relative to the plot and the effect on the street scene.
Agreed.
I think we just need to go around the table and get a flavour of whether or not people feel that this is something for which we would not object. And if you do object, just give me a sort of a one-liner as to why. I'll just start over here.
Well, as I said earlier on, I think it's overdevelopment, and I think it will be detrimental to the street scene.
I feel exactly the same words.
Councillor Sparks? Three. Councillor Humphreys?
No, I'm going to abstain from this because I'm not convinced either which way.
I'm the same.
Councillor Hayes?
I'm the same.
So we've got three people who aren't expressing a view. Councillor Oakes, just before I wrap up.
I think it's important for us as a council to understand that the objections have already been put in from the individuals who are here this evening, and I'm trying to work out just what our function might be. Are we going to actually put our weight behind their objections? Are we going to try? The way I think about it is we're actually here as a council to look at it in as balanced a way as we possibly can, in assuring certain knowledge that whatever decision we make will probably be the wrong one.
I'm not entirely sure I agree with the last comment.
Yes, but you know what, I'm being sarcastic, but you get the general
What I do agree
idea.
with is this, that we are charged with making a decision. It's not a decision that is binding, it is simply advisory. We tell the local authority our view. And I'd like to think that we'd have had a view on this application, even if there had been nobody sitting in this room with us, and even if we had heard no particular presentations, we would have looked at this for its merits or otherwise. What appears to be the case is that some people, me included, remain worried that what is proposed to overdevelopment, given the constraints, if you like, of the site on which the development is proposed. And it seems that on the basis that we haven't got people saying that they positively don't wish to object, that what we seem to be doing is saying that we do object on the basis that it is overdevelopment and it does impact adversely on the street scene. Unless anybody demurs, I think that's the decision we will record at this stage. Yeah. Fine. Well, I thank those who've contributed. You're very welcome to stay for other matters. I suspect you
I wouldn't bother if I were you. The rest of it is nothing like a business.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm assuming that the order in which they now appear will be the order that's on.
Can I just say, I can't promise that.
We'll hope.
Because if you, the hassle I've had with the ENC website, and
Well, I must admit,
it's, oh well, they're going to have to sort.
having problems with it myself, as you're well aware, I somebody
Oh, yeah.
trying to have this.
I've been on,
Right, let's move on. Hopefully,
Look,
the next one is
with a bit of luck,
West Street.
with a bit of luck, this may not come in order now, for various reasons.
If
Okay.
it's 33 West Street, it's trees.
I can promise you, Mark, it's nothing of interest in. If you want an early night.
I've got to make sure you read them. Sorry.
But what's happening here? Come on. Go. Right. Have we got it? Are we 33 West Street? I hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you've got an awful lot you can say, really. Tree application. Look, this keeps doing this. I'm sorry, Dates, but this is annoying. We are going to have to do something about this blooming laptop. Right, here we go. You can see where they are. T1, T2, required. Not unusual. Been done before. Seen an application for this about 2 or 3 years ago. The only real issue, I think, are the ones at the front of the property, which is T3 and T4, which are, well, you can see if you look at them. Hang a minute. That's the property. They're on the high street. But again, you're looking at pruning. You're not looking at felling here.
if we go by our normal policy, this is simply tree husbandry and we would not normally object.
I think we should actually say,
Tree officer.
Tree officer.
yeah,
they
I'm
have
going to say,
concern.
Yeah.
I cannot think that we could say anything other than that.
No objection recorded.
Jolly good.
On to another tree.
Duck Lane, I've
8
got,
Duck Lane.
well, this is a repositioning one, and incidentally, the bit you've got on your on your agenda, I think it's 40. Where are we here? Let's see if we've got it right. Yes, well, I've actually added this because they got it wrong on the website. They're basically moving it from T1 to site T33, which means, sorry about this, but it means just shifting it. So, a bit difficult.
Does anybody
Mike,
want to say
can I just say,
anything?
no,
Shall we just
I-
say no objection and move on?
Oh dear, yes.
Right.
I've lost the will to live now. Right, Sports Hall, Milton Road.
Two trees. Which
Yeah,
one are you on?
sorry about this. I've got the Sports Hall, Milton Road. It's a CND.
Oh, all right.
If you want to wade through it,
Just try and find where that one is.
sorry.
The sports hall is at 17.
And these are just
311.
That's not my fault.
So, yeah. So 5310, 5311.
Basically, this is all terribly technical stuff. I have had a look at it. Again, I lost the will to live over this. They're basically just fiddling around at the edges of the design they put in. That's all they're doing. And they're just making sure that anything that is done has gone through the right and proper procedure. That's it, really. This is a sort of like a rubber stamping exercise.
Can I ask you one question? And it's simply
You can.
that if I don't ask it, somebody else will.
Well,
On 175310,
Yep.
approximately halfway through the wording on our agendas, the words external lighting appear. And quite often when the words external lighting appear anywhere on any building, anywhere in Arundel, people get a little
It's
excited.
floodlights.
Can you...
the answer to that is no. Oh, crikey, I went through all of this. I can't remember, is the truth. I do know that we made specific notification originally that we were concerned about any lighting that might intrude upon neighbours. Maybe we should just note that the external lighting, reiterate to say that,
to impact of external
yeah,
lighting, or
I,
any impact of external
yeah,
lighting.
yeah.
I can't tell whether there would be any, bearing in mind where this building is.
I've got to-
relative to other
I've got to put
properties,
my
there
hand-
might not be much.
I'm going to put my hand up here and just apologise. There's so many documents related to this development now. You know, well, if they were paying me an awful lot of money, I'd go through it all, you know, a lot. I'd go through the whole lot. But there's so much now there. To be honest, I don't know where this external lighting business is, which it applies to, because obviously there's lighting throughout the whole site. But the bit that we were worried about most was the bit where the existing swimming pool, sports hall, impinged upon the buildings which are off Milton Road. That was originally the issue. From my record, you know, from what I remember, there are other lighting things around the whole site which run down all the way towards just about everywhere around there, really.
I suspect that all we can do is simply say that what we noted and invite East Northants Council to bear in mind the concerns we've previously expressed with regard to the possible impact of lighting in their TV. And it may or may not turn out to be relevant comment, but at least it's made if it is.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing about it is that that's a relatively minor thing compared with knocking down, you know, the swimming pool.
Well, absolutely, but we've already considered
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
of the
Yep.
fine detail.
Yep.
Right, well, I've now lost confidence, so you tell me what the
Oh,
next
no,
one is. This
I
kind of-
apologise. I didn't intend to drive this meeting. Yeah.
What have we got?
Right, we're back to Felling now. Here, this is Fell.
Is this 2 Old School Avenue?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Now, it's a bit of a strange one because we've got these question marks in it. If the influence fees remain at question mark 3.1k, then we got another question mark. I can only put up there what's been put in the application. A little bit odd, really. What they're really saying is that we just want to get rid of these trees because they might affect our building. That's pretty well it. If I go on a bit, I'm hoping I've got this. Those are the trees that we're talking about. Now, I would make one remark about this. This is Old School Avenue. This is 173 buildings that were put up part of Herne Road and Ashton Road. And this is not the first application we've had. And you would have thought that when they built this or designed it, they would have taken into consideration the trees that were already there. So they don't appear to have done so. But this is at least the third, I think, application we've had for either, for felling on the same estate.
Councillor Chester.
I think this is the usual thing of, it's felling by stealth, if you like.
Yes.
Because I went to all the original presentations by the original site owners and the scheme for the site. And one of the things they made a lot of fuss about was that they were going to keep the wonderful surroundings and the trees, and they were even talking about the church square, if they could do anything about that. And here we are, them wanting to cut down the very trees that they were actually using as a selling point in the first place. And particularly things like the Scots pines, which are very special to Landville. We've got to be very careful that these requests don't keep coming.
Well, yes, I share Councillor Chess's concern because it was very much part of our consideration in that application. It was very well further going through, we looked very carefully at the impact on things like trees, and we were reassured that efforts would be made to maintain as many of them as possible, and you put TPOs on them and you think they're safe, and then somebody comes along and says, well, actually, we'd rather like to take 2 of the 3 out, and then, oh, well, actually, perhaps to be on the safe side, let's take all of them out. I would anticipate that councillors may very well have some concern with regard to this, and it's probably a concern that we should flag up by saying that we are very concerned and would not want them to be removed unless it proved to be essential, and that we would defer to the tree officer on his view as to whether it is essential that they be removed.
Well, it had to be something new because they didn't have the trees
Exactly.
before they did the
Yeah.
building.
Well, they
So
bought the house knowing that the trees were in the yard.
The trees came first.
the trees came first, and they were really, really part of the selling of this site.
Well, that's really why I made my remarks.
Yeah, exactly.
I really don't like the implications in this, that they're going to sue us if we don't let it go through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right. We'll have the tree officers look at it. If it is essential, they can have it, but if not, they can't.
It can't really be essential in a way, because, as we've said, the
Well, the
trees
tree
came first.
officer.
We're probably already damaged the buildings anyway by building on top of them.
Right, well,
This is, I mean, this whole development has been fraught with tree issues, not least of which the access from Ashton Road.
Why do
But,
they
you
want
know,
to down? Do they want more clearance in their garden?
look, frankly, I think that's what they want to
They
do.
want to build another house.
They don't want to put another house on this.
Who knows? Overdevelopment.
being cynical, one might say maybe, taking at face value, what we're saying is the neighbouring plots had problems with trees, and before I do, I'd like to get rid of them. Well, I'm afraid that somebody is going to have to convince me that these things are going to cause a problem before I will be happy to see, happy might be the wrong word, prepared to see them go. So I think if we make a strong response on that basis, but defer ultimately to the tree officer's view, I have a feeling the tree officer might be less than impressed with this one. So, If the next one that comes up is
Oh.
Unit 2 Mill Road.
With a bit of light. Oh, now we got Unit 2, yes.
Right, well,
Can I
Unit
just
2
say, it's a blank sheet,
Yes.
that's it.
Exactly. You'll notice it's for a change of use, but bearing in mind, as I said earlier, that the property belongs to this town council and the letting will be controlled by this town council, it would seem inappropriate for us to do any more than note it and leave it to ENC to decide.
Thank you.
In which case, with a bit of luck,
Yep.
the next one will be 10 Herne Road.
I've got it, there we go.
Good.
Outlined in blue, big property, long garden, you know, not really, doesn't appear to be interfering with anybody here. Significant amount of change, you could argue, but given the size of it and given its proximity, that's the proposal. You can see that I want to stick a bit on the side and whatever, but given where it is, I just,
It's a very big one.
In terms
it's a wacky great pot.
The only thing that, again, perhaps I'd just like to refer to the last 3 words on our agenda, are the words alterations to access. And whilst we probably have no
That's been retracted.
concerns-
That's actually been retracted to the planning officer.
What, the bit about the access?
It's not on the application, never would have picked that up because they've changed it a week ago. ENC are so far behind.
They're miles behind.
You can ignore that.
We're grateful to you
Sorry.
for being
Thank you
here,
very much.
but it stops me going off on a
I'm really
about
glad you stayed.
concerns about alterations that aren't going to happen.
We pulled that bit.
I shall delete the words alterations to access.
But to be honest, even if they stayed, I don't think I'd have had an objection personally. But there we go.
Well, it would seem rather difficult to find any planning basis for objecting. It's a big site. I know we'll have the usual caveats about I am not aware of any objections because there weren't any when I was last able to look, etc.
I think they'll probably catch up around about
But,
October next year.
certainly none have been brought to our attention in the sense that
There are none on the site.
so none on the site and no parishioners have contacted us to express concern. So may I take it that there are no objections to it? Yeah.
Very good.
Good. On we go, 6 and 7 Mill Road. Well,
Let's look at the first-
Notice my favourite word.
Here it comes.
It
Retrospective.
starts with retrospective, so you can see.
I normally put that in red or something.
This is both a full and listed building consent, so it relates to developments to the rear garden of a Grade 2 listed building, replacement of timber shed, erection of timber and pantomime, gazebo roof over existing stone garden walls. Right.
Can I just say, I mean, we've actually looked at this, I think, twice.
Yes.
I don't know, again, it's done. It seems in keeping. Can't really say too much about it, to be honest.
I suppose what we are going to say is that provided the conservation officer does not object to the works that are being carried out, then we wouldn't object. But we do deplore the fact that the application has gone in retrospectively because people should know that they're supposed to apply before they do things like
The
this.
usual
And I'm fed up having to say that in every other meeting in this town.
Can I just sort of say, as far as I'm aware, Lloyd Mills has no objection to it.
So I write no objection subject to
The usual.
conservation officer, but deplore that application is retrospective.
Right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of light stuff.
Right.
No,
There's one other item on here,
there is.
but it's probably not something where there would be anything. It's one I declared an interest in
Yeah,
earlier.
Trent House.
It's Trent House. It's the discharge of a
It is.
position within a planning consent. Councillors may recall Trent House is actually a listed building,
It is.
and it has a Collie Western roof, and unfortunately the Collie Western roof has reached the end of its useful life, and it requires replacing, and that's basically what's going on. It's called utter consternation because it's presented with the residents there and by definition are 55 years and over, with a substantial bill to be recouped through their service charge. Just by way of information, I would say it's not the only listed building down there. They're not all listed, but it's not the only one. And of course all the buildings have roofs. And what's happened to Trent might happen elsewhere. And I am aware of a number of residents there who are pushing the current letting agents, which are Fremont, to push the freehold owners, which are the Orbit Housing Association, to look at a possible application to delist. Because if it was delisted, it might be possible if you have to do further roof work to do them in Collie Weston. It may never happen, but I just mentioned to councillors that we may yet find ourselves with a rather interesting and unusual application around delisting. That is, I think, all we can say about that. Otherwise, we simply.
Well, actually,
Can I ask a question on this?
By all means.
Have we any information on the cost of this particular?
I don't know.
Is this one, Mark, that you are involved in? No, you're not.
I do have all the figures. So if you're interested, I'll let
I
you
was
know
gonna say.
afterwards.
No, it was put to me yesterday while I was at the lunch club.
30-something thousand, I think. I'm talking from utter memory now, but I haven't got the exact figures. They did go out and try to get a number of quotes, and the one they'd gone for seemed competitive and from a competent and experienced Collie Weston roofer, as I recall it. I know that residents there are concerned that things reached this stage. I think they're concerned that Orbit didn't actually do what they should have done soon enough, and that engaging in a policy of sort of patch and mend, and they do, that it contributed to the situation we've got now. I am not a technical expert. I have no idea whether, in fact, if they've done more, whether it's a stick and time job or not. And it would be phenomenally expensive for anybody down there to try and prove it and take legal action against the freeholders, and I don't believe that will happen. But it is one to watch, I suspect. Does anybody have any other points on that? Because if not, that is the last of the planning applications on our agenda. There is, however, another item, which is on time limits for actually responding to applications.
Can I just say thank you?
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for your assistance at times, Mark. This was something that at one point we thought to bring up through NALC. I have to say, we probably sat on from a great height, because we had to have a backing council and we didn't get support. Indeed, we were being sort of ruled off this. But I did want to put it on, because there have been issues around the amount of time that we sometimes have within which to respond to applications. And there was a particular application the other day which I must admit, unfortunately, I've forgotten the detail of it now. But it was one of those situations where we were almost supposed to respond to it at the moment we first became aware of it. It's not, as I understand it, and I think you'll correct me, I suspect I'm wrong, it's not something which is unique to ENC, because I think that all planning authorities have got laid down the procedures by which they must operate in terms of how they deal with notifying consultees like ourselves or planning applications, and the timescales they've got for considering an application and then they receive it and log it. But it does strike me that it is something of an issue, and I wonder whether there is any merit in having somebody over from the NC. We do this periodically, get somebody over from planning. We could raise this issue and then any other issues of concern with them, because it must be well over a year, I would have thought, since we've had anybody. But if it's just me harping on and nobody else is particularly interested or worried, then I won't pursue it further. Your thoughts?
It does at times seem incredibly it's out of sync. Everything we do here is that the building's either already built, or the planning application hasn't happened, or we don't know anything about it, or we get something that, and then we say something about it and it doesn't happen anyway. So,
Well, Councillor Oates has already alluded to another problem, and that is that we don't have paper applications. We're reliant on the ENC site, and the ENC site is at times a nightmare. And I'm very grateful to Councillor Oates for the amount of effort he puts in that enables him to put up at every one of our meetings, usually a presentation on each and every planning application we get, because without it, it would be a much more difficult job. Again, I suppose we could raise that.
It's not a good day in Derek's household when he's doing this.
I can imagine. But I suppose it is yet another opportunity if we've got planning over to raise our concerns about this system with them.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know, you know, Lisa obviously, she gets notification and we stay in fairly close contact, and I say, look, I've got this, and what have you got? But by and large, I use a thing they call weekly list, which basically says it's a list of any planning applications which have been received within the week beginning Monday the 20th or whatever. So I use that as a source guide, but even that is not sacrosanct, because I've been caught out on more than one occasion when things haven't appeared on the weekly list. To be honest, if the weekly list and if the mechanism they got was up and running properly, we shouldn't really have an awful lot of time about problems with, you know, delaying or deferring. I mean, what they've got to do is realise that we have a once monthly planning meeting. It happens on this day, you know, and if you've got any planning applications that come in, you're going to have to wait until, you know, we look at them. I have no idea how you can deal with it in any other way. What you don't want is the likes of our, you know, administrative staff to keep on, you know, sending out emails saying, can we have an extension on this one? Can we have an extension on that one? It just seems to be a complete waste of time.
So we have to talk to them.
So it would be good.
Well, I've been trying to do that.
Well, maybe if we invite them to attend.
I think that's a very, very good idea. But I think we've got to understand there are two completely different bits here. One is the planning officers, the case officers, and there's the people who do the IT. And they don't necessarily talk to each other. So, I mean, they managed brilliantly to change all of the URL things without telling anybody. So I go in there, I go, where's that gone? So I've got it all set on my computer, so I can go bing, 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 and all of a sudden it disappears. And you go, we've upgraded the system. Well, thank you ever so much for telling me. That would be a useful thing to start with.
Can I ask if Lisa's got any comments on?
All I was going to add is that I think 4 out of those that we've discussed tonight all came through, and I had to ask for an extension because the deadline didn't line up with our meeting day.
So people are not getting proper value from planning.
I mean, they always virtually always say yes. I think.
It's very rare.
Yeah, they don't.
It's very rare
yeah,
that I know that they.
I've not heard them say.
It's either that or you said, oh, we've dealt with it, and
Yeah.
Well, that's the other issue that has occasionally happened, hasn't it? There was in fact one infamous one I seem to recall, where they asked for an extension and then discovered they'd already considered it and granted it.
Yep.
We didn't have an opportunity to say anything. All right, well, I think maybe we will invite them. It strikes me that first meeting in January will be the
3rd, I think, isn't it?
Spoke that.
It's quite
It's
soon
the
after
Tuesday
the
straight
break.
after we
I'm
come
wondering
back.
whether it might be more sensible to invite them in February rather than January. Also, to give them plenty of notice. So could we perhaps see if some representative from planning could attend the meeting, just so that we can have, say, a 15-minute Q&A. They can tell us anything they want to tell us, and we can put any questions we want to or concerns.
The only mini bit I've got really is that the trees were always the real issue, because you pull up the tree thing and there was nothing. They're now at least starting, you know, you've seen a map or two with, this is the tree here, and this. At least we've got that now. So, you've given them a little bit of credit for that, because we never used to get anything at all. I used to have to, well, go around with a camera and try and work out what it was. But there we go.
All right.
I'd like to try and, I'd actually like to try to show them.
Also give us an opportunity to think, and maybe they would, if we've got particular questions, we could give them some advance warning of the things that we might be asked.
I think I'd actually like to show them what we do, because I think we're probably ahead of the game, frankly.
Yes.
And
hopefully they would stay on to see our meeting, or at least part of it.
Yeah.
So that would be useful in itself. Right, well, I'm conscious of the fact it's just gone past 9, so I'm going to go quickly around the table and see if anybody has any other relevant matters.
No.
If